Thank you for listening to this Podcast One production. Now available on Apple Podcasts, Podcast One, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.
There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers. A dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends. A place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view. But when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave Schrader, along with me, Tim Dennis. Hello, Tim.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. Hey, I want to just thank everybody for the outpouring of love and affection regarding the loss of my father-in-law last week. It was, not that you're ever really prepared for something like this, but it was a bit of a shock. Luckily, my wife had just had a beautiful time with him on the 4th of July and then was chatting with him the night he passed away, most likely within 45 minutes of the time he died. She called him. They talked on the phone. He sounded great, fine. They had a very sweet little conversation. And he had purchased, this is kind of neat, Tim. He had purchased for Jack, his grandson, this flight package because he knows Jack wants to be a pilot when he's older.
Oh, cool.
To go up and I think a Corsair and get to fly it for an hour.
Oh.
And he was so excited. He bought aviator sunglasses and a really cool baseball cap with a plane on it. And he was going to present it to Jack on Sunday and tell him about this package that he bought for him. And that's what he and my wife Winnie talked about. And he was very excited about coming over Sunday to hang out with the boys and do this. And what, they were chatting about how they thought Jack would react to this. And she said, "All right, Dad, I'm going to go to bed. All right, I love you. Love you." Hung up. And unfortunately, he went out to walk his dog and collapsed on the sidewalk outside the house and suffered a massive heart attack. Thankfully, it happened outside. Somebody saw it immediately after it happened. They called 911, and an ambulance was brought in immediately. So he was dead on arrival, unfortunately, but he didn't suffer. It was pretty quick, and that's kind of what happened. But she got the gift of being able to talk to her dad just before this happened, and they had a wonderful conversation. And I know it's been devastating. She's lost her two parents in 3 years span, so it's been a dodgy time. But we got to take Jack yesterday or Thursday of this past week to do that flight, and my wife got to sit in the back of the plane while Jack flew with the pilot, and they brought the remains, the ashes, up into the skies so that Papa Ed got to fly with Jack and have that experience together. So it was really, really kind of an amazing thing. So we were planning on doing interviews and doing a normal weekend setup, but in needing to deal with the funeral arrangements, clearing out his home, doing everything, there just wasn't enough time. So we played those two special replays. Now, those were some popular requested replays over the last, decade. People have been begging us to replay that episode of It's Just the Dog.
Yeah.
Parashare. And, Tim sifted through our archives, the Darchives as we call them, to uncover that episode. And thank you for the eloquent introduction to that, Tim. We appreciate it. And,
sure.
And in dedicating both of the episodes to Ed, that meant a lot, I know, to my wife. But it was just a fun weekend. And then that second episode last Sunday with the reincarnation and angels, I thought was very timely. Without noticing it, Tim, we chose those episodes just to air. Didn't realize that in those episodes, one of them was Charlie Daniels music.
Yeah, in the It's Just a Dog episode, right? We mentioned Charlie Daniels. Yeah.
Yeah, and Charlie Daniels also passed away last week.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I always joke about not being a country music fan, but man, I love Charlie Daniels band. Mm-hmm. And for not a country music fan, I'm really kind of shoot myself in the foot when I say I'm not really a country fan, but I've seen Garth Brooks, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, Reba McEntire 2 or 3 times, Hank Williams Jr. about a half dozen times, Charlie Daniels band. So obviously my claims of not being a country fan are complete and utter nonsense, but what a blow. But he did do 2 of my all-time favorite paranormal songs ever. Mm-hmm. The Legend of Woolly Swamp, which is an awesome ghost story song. Mm-hmm. Awesome. If you haven't heard it, folks, treat yourself. If you like ghost stories and you like country music, it's an amazing blend. The Legend of Woolly Swamp, and of course, The Devil Went Down to Georgia. So both of those songs. So that's been our week. It's just been very hectic. We're back. We've got exciting stuff. Tomorrow, Robert Major and his sister Antoinette are back from Ghost Remover. They've got brand new stories to talk to us about, and they are working diligently to try to help people dealing with dark attachments and shedding some light on what these attachments are, what happened, how you might have gotten them, how they can get rid of them. And ghostremover.com is their website. Right now they're working in a way that they're trying to, they're going to be working at a distance, of course, because of COVID and the fact that Antoinette is moving. So they're finding new ways to be able to aid people. So they are looking for listeners that are having issues and need help. You believe you have something dark attached to you, something there. They can help you out. And here's, this is the weird thing, Tim, I'm going to mention. Over the years, I mean, they make the most bizarre claims of being able to help people. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to outright honest about that. They're going to make a lot of weird claims, and they have on our shows in the past. Right. But we've had our listeners reach out to them and then contact us afterward. I do not have one complaint about anybody that's ever contacted them.
Right.
Everybody has said, I feel like my life has changed. I literally felt something leave me. Something was attached. I don't feel it there anymore.
Well, one claim, and again, tomorrow they will mention that with COVID and what's going on with COVID, they do want to talk to families that do have people that are stricken with COVID, that they want to see people that are in the throes of COVID and in the later stages of COVID and perhaps may have an attachment on top of that. So that may seem like it doesn't go hand in hand, but they believe that there may be some people that are stricken with the later stages of COVID that may have attachments as well and may be stricken with that. So although you may think that those things don't go hand in hand, they believe they do.
Interesting stuff. So make sure you tune in tomorrow for that. Tim, in the great state of Minnesota, there are some amazing haunted locations, right? I've had a chance to investigate many of them on the Twin Cities Live program with the Happy Medium Jody Laban. We've gone to First Avenue. We've gone to a Keys restaurant, which was one of my favorites. We got to, investigate the St. James Hotel up in Red Wing. We had a chance to investigate a couple of haunted biker bars. There's just some really neat opportunities, but throughout the entire state of Minnesota, there's one place that holds a special place in both of our hearts.
Oh, yes.
And we have been investigating that place, God, hard to believe this, Tim, 13 years. Mm-hmm. Been going back and forth to the Palmer House Hotel in Sauk Center, Minnesota. I think out of 13 years, I could probably think of maybe one time I visited where something strange and unusual did not happen. One time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, we've gone 2-3 times a year for 13 years. To say that one time we didn't really have any experiences says a lot. But this show has been featured on Ghost Adventures and Ghost Adventures Aftershocks, Dead Files. I think Paranormal Caught on Tape. God, it's like everything, but there's a brand new show that's coming out. And joining us, the owner of the Palmer House, Kelly Freeze, is with us right now. Hey, Kelly, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. Always pleasure to speak with you and catch up on the Palmer House. But you guys are going to be featured on Hotel Paranormal tonight on the Travel Channel.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see it. You know, with any of the television shows we've done, we have no access to previews or what is going to be discussed. So I'll see it for the first time along with everybody else.
Excellent. Now, this is, and Dan Aykroyd, the OG Ghostbuster himself, is affiliated with this series. Now, they flew you and Kara right out to talk about the haunted Palmer?
That's correct.
And from my understanding, you get a lot of time talking with them, a lot of interview time at least.
Yeah, several hours. I guess that wasn't the standard for all of the other people that were out there conducting interviews as well. So I don't know. They must have found some of our experiences interesting.
Well, who couldn't? I mean, the Palmer House is crazy haunted with just strange activity all the time. What has been going on there recently? Again, remember to watch Hotel Paranormal tonight. It is Saturday, July 18th on Travel Channel. And I'm sure it'll be replayed over and over again. So if you're listening to this later on in our archives, just go check it out. And do you happen to know the name of that episode yet?
No, I do not.
All right.
I do not.
What's been going on recently at the Palmer House?
You know, it's been interesting. While we were shut down during the pandemic, we took the opportunity to do some repairs that we needed to do. Did new tiling from the front door and continued all the way to the restrooms, redid those. Was, kind of caught up in the craziness of COVID, that I wasn't paying a lot of attention to the Palmer House initially as to how she might be reacting to the renovations and the activity. And actually, as I'm starting to pay a little bit more attention, there is a completely different, much more active vibe that is going on. A lot of fun pictures, fun experiences, people talking about different experiences they're having, the hotel guests. So we're getting ready to start our tours again. So it'll be really interesting to go downstairs and really check in with them and see what they think.
It is one of the most active locations we've ever had a chance to investigate. And when you open up the tours, what can people expect when they get to go on a tour of the Palmer House?
Typically what we do is we start out with a group. We keep the groups small, and they will be even smaller now because of the social distancing and the safety measures that we want to put in place. But it's a big building, and we feel like we can safely spread people out and still have a good time, and they can have an amazing experience. But we start out giving them a little history, going through Q&A. Everybody has a million questions, and once we feel like everybody's satisfied with that, then we go downstairs and we actually conduct a mini investigation with guests so that they can have a taste of what a real investigation is all about. So you need to set aside at least 2 hours.
Excellent.
It'll last at least that long.
How can people sign up for this tour? And are you open for investigations as well?
Those are for people that want to do investigations. They need to go through me simply because that's a little bit more involved. It's a little bit harder to schedule, and I need to work those around pre-commitments on dates that I might have. But you can sign up for the tours by going on to my website, thepalmerhousehotel.com, and go to our event calendar. We don't have any posted yet because we're still settling on the dates. We're right now going to first try to take care of all of our guests that had prepaid for tours and then had to be backburnered because of the shutdown. So we are giving our first and foremost attention to them, and then we will open them up to the public to sign up.
Excellent. Very cool. Well, go check it out if you haven't had a chance or you want just a taste of what you can get at the Palmer House by going in and doing these tours. You're going to absolutely love it. Like I said, Tim and I have never been let down in our visits to the Palmer House. And now, how many shows have you been featured on at this point? I said Dead Files, Ghost Adventures, Ghost Adventures, Aftershocks. I feel like there's two or three more.
We did my ghost story, and I think there's another one I'm honestly forgetting. But yeah, very excited for this new one.
Very cool. All right, well, you heard it. Make sure to check it out for yourself. And Kelly, keep us in mind as you guys are reopening slowly and exciting, strange things continue to happen. We'd love to get some updates on what's going on at the Palmer House, okay?
You got it. You guys visit soon. It's been too long.
Yeah, it has been. All right, take care, Kelly. Thank you very much. That's Kelly Freeze from the Palmer House Hotel in Sauk Center, Minnesota. And isn't it hard to believe, Tim, that all these years have passed and it's been such a big part of who we are? Yeah,
it's kind of staggering to think of how many years it's been, and it feels like it's been this little gem that we discovered, and it's been sullied by the world, almost.
Sullied by the world.
Yeah, like it's been desecrated by the world.
No. He doesn't like to share.
I don't like to share at all. No, it's kind of our own little place. It's cool to see how many people have discovered the Palmer House and have got to partake and enjoy the Palmer House, and I'm so happy for Kelly and the staff up there that they've gotten to meet so many people from around the U.S. and the world, really, and that they've been exposed to different outlets through different programs and whatnot. And it's good that another program has yet discovered the Palmer House, and it's good to see that they're going to get this exposure tonight on Hotel Paranormal. So,
yeah, check it out, watch it. We'll I'm sure chat about it as well. All right, Tim. Listen, you and I are both not cat people.
Well, no. They're cute.
Yeah, they're all right.
I'll give them that, but let's face it, cats are dicks.
That's what we've talked about.
Right.
And before you start emailing me to remind me I have cats, I know I have cats.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not a cat guy. I just happen to be a guy for these 4 cats. That's it. Otherwise, I'm not a cat guy at all, except for Mr. Mittens. He's definitely one of my best friends on the planet. He understands me, Tim, in a way that no human does. So don't judge me. Don't cock your eyebrow at me. As a matter of fact, don't cock anything at me ever.
Yeah.
But cats are dicks.
They are.
They don't care about anybody or anything except for my 4 cats. They're amazing animals. But everybody else's cats are dicks. That's all I'm going to say.
And before you start deluging us with articles and stuff from Cat Fancy, because that's not a
Cat Fancy.
That's not a scientific type magazine that actually has had articles that have proven that cats are not loving towards you. They're not. They're predatory. That's a proven scientific fact. They're predatory. They're just looking for a meal, unlike dogs who do love you. I'm just saying. This is all science here, folks.
Dogs, I know, they do. They love you. And what's funny is I have a dog, Hans Holzer Schrader.
Yeah.
He's my pit bull, right, that we got a year ago.
Right.
And he just wants to love my cats, and my cats are dicks. They swat at him.
Yep.
They bite him. They scratch him.
Yep.
And all he wants to do is just lick them and love them.
Right.
And they'll have none of it.
Exactly.
They're like, we put up with none of your puppy shenanigans.
See,
be away with you.
You have the ultimate experiment going on at home. You've got the little biodome there in the Schrader household to prove exactly what we're saying here.
Although I will say this, they are very affectionate towards me, the cats. Very loving and affectionate, very cuddly and sweet. And whenever I've had a really crap moment, it's like they sense it. They will come to me. They will snuggle me. They will insist on loving me whether I want them to or not. And it's not like this, all right, now you may love me moment. It's legitimately like they care.
Well, you know why, Dave? We're calling it setting you up for the kill. In the animal kingdom, what that is it's sensing a moment of weakness.
So they're thinking if I'm about to drop, they want to be first on the buffet table.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Well, I got a letter, an email today with a story, Tim.
Yep.
And it says, "See, not all cats are dicks." Now, I'm going to read this story as it's written.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
And then we'll discuss that at the end.
Sure.
All right? A sister has won a $2 million inheritance fight after her dead brother's will, which was lost for 2 decades, was discovered when a cat knocked over a pile of papers in a solicitor's office. Dean Brunt, his brother Dale, and sister Venetia Murray, age 36, had between them owned a $6 million Ettridge farm, Hertfordshire, which they had inherited from their grandfather until Dean's death, age 35, in a railway accident back in 2007. Good God. 2007 doesn't sound like 20 years ago, Tim. That sounds like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not. No. Yeah.
Dean was thought to have died without making a will, so his $2 million share of the farm went to his 82-year-old mother, Marlene Brunt, who in turn handed it to her eldest child, Dale. But after Venetia discovered the existence of 2 wills made by her brother back in 1999, a family feud was sparked, with Venetia and her uncle Bob Wrangle up against Dale and the siblings' mom. One of the wills, which lawyers said formed crucial evidence of Dean's intention to give his sister half his wealth, was unearthed when a solicitor's cat knocked over a pile of papers, which were about to be shredded. What kind of attorney doesn't go through that pile to make sure there's not something important in that pile?
Correct.
Just saying. Now, at the High Court in London, Judge Paul Teverson this week rejected claims by Dale and his mother that the wills were forged and ruled that Venetia will get half of Dean's share of the farm. The court heard that the 3 siblings inherited the farm at Broxbourne from their grandfather, Arthur Nicholas, who had bought it with the earnings as a prize fighter. He died in 1990. Arthur was Dean's hero, and it was his grandfather who persuaded him to train as a mechanic. Dean's own father, a jockey and racehorse trainer, played no part in his upbringing, the judge said. Dean, who the judge said was the gentler of the 2 brothers, had been starved of oxygen at birth and was thought to have suffered from learning difficulties and mental health issues in later life. A coroner returned an accidental death verdict after his body was found on a railway line near Sawbridgeworth, Hertfordshire, in 2007. He had stepped in front of a train. Following his death, his mom, Marlene, obtained letters of administration over his estate on the basis that he had died an interstate bachelor without having made a valid will and with no children of his own. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
She inherited his share of the farm, passed on that share to Dale, meaning he then owned 2/3 of the land and business, which is estimated to be worth about $6 million, and Venetia got the rest. So this cat comes out of nowhere, knocks over a stack of papers about to be shredded, only to reveal this. So, what does this have to do with the paranormal? It's interesting that a will that's about to be destroyed is suddenly recovered because a cat does something, knocking something over. And we know how rare that is in the cat world, Tim. For a cat to come and knock things over.
Yeah, geez. Never happened ever.
Unbelievable. Yeah. No, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But that it reveals this document about to be shredded. And now Venetia gets her share. So I say to you, Tim, this is what listeners are sending this. See, cats are not dicks. Look what this cat did. However, I'd like to flip this on its ear, Tim.
Yep.
I'd like you to think of this from the other brother's perspective, who now just lost that portion.
Right.
I bet in his opinion, cats are really big dicks.
Yep, biggest dick of all.
Now to her, oh no, this cat saved and got her $2 million back. To the other guy, he's like, this cat sucks.
Yep.
And he's a dick. So there's just that side of it. See, folks, it's not so cut and dry. Just because a cat did what cats do, really, I think what this proves is lawyers are dicks. Because this lawyer was about to shred an important document without just rifling through them.
I think if Whitney Houston were still alive and the brothers still had the money, he would have commissioned Whitney Houston to write a song about the cat called The Biggest Dick of All, because the cat just done cost him $2 million.
You know, Bobby Brown would have claimed that it was actually written about him. I'm just going to say.
Well, yeah, there's that. Yeah.
All right, Tim, our next story. The mysteries surrounding the existence of ghosts have always been perplexing for humans through the ages. We know this to be true.
True.
Until now. No studies have proven the presence of souls, spirits, or demons among us. No official studies. Interestingly, though, most people who have sighted ghosts say that their chilling paranormal experiences occur around midnight, Tim. This article goes on to question, are ghosts real? Now, a top expert has revealed that paranormal experience faced by several people are in no way connected to actual ghosts. Instead, it is closely associated with the sleeping pattern of the individual. Alice Gregory, professor of psychology at Goldsmiths University, believes that many people often confuse sleep disruption with ghosts. In an article published in The Conversation, Gregory claimed that sleep paralysis often plays a crucial role in disrupting the calm sleep of people, and the distress during these moments can make people believe that they are experiencing a paranormal event. When we sleep, the cycle through different stages that we go through, Tim, we start the night in non-rapid eye movement, which is NREM sleep.
Okay.
Which gets progressively deeper. We then cycle back until we hit rapid eye movement, REM sleep. During REM sleep, we are most likely to have vivid dreams, but during sleep paralysis, features of REM sleep continue into waking life. Those who experience it will feel awake, yet might experience dreamlike hallucinations, Tim. A little dismissive that it's just dreamlike hallucinations.
Right.
And that's not always the case.
Yeah.
And then they struggle to move. This experience is pretty common, occurring to around 8% of people in the world have this experience. Now, in this article, Gregory also shared her experience of educating a woman who believed that a ghost existed in her house. I spoke to Mrs. Sinclair, who is 70. She lives alone. She told me that she had what she thought was a ghost living in her house, an imp throttling her during the night, and other things that had left her petrified. Having scientific explanations provided her with immense comfort, and she no longer believes in the paranormal explanations for things that she experienced, added Gregory. Gregory added that the best way to avoid sleep paralysis is to reduce anxiety and learn more about the scientific principles associated with your sleeping patterns. So this is what I will tell the good doctor, Tim.
Sure.
You're right. A lot of things I think that happen when we're sleeping are most likely dream hallucinations from the hypnagogic or hypnopompic states. But to summarily dismiss the paranormal, saying that it's not real and it's just your sleep patterns, I'm filming a TV show that feels quite differently about that. Because one thing I can tell you, Tim, I'm not sleeping when we're having our experiences.
Right. Yeah.
How do you explain that, Tim? That's what I want to know.
Well, that's a good point. I was just thinking of something as you're reading that article, and that's this. You know, my grandmother, who's passed away now, my dad's mother, had one specific ghost encounter that she told me about over the years that we would sit and talk about this stuff. And it had to do with her sister, who passed away what we would consider at a relatively young age from a massive heart attack. And it was her sister Joanne. And she said her sister Joanne appeared to her only once. And my grandmother was on almost a military-like schedule with her sleep because she worked for Medtronic making pacemakers. Okay. So she was up like a military-type regimen, and she worked Monday through Saturday. Okay. So she would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get up and go work her shift over at Medtronic. And she went to bed very early. She would go to bed at, I think it was like 8 o'clock at night. Okay. So we're talking a woman that never, ever deviated from the schedule. All right. So the one time that she saw her sister Joanne was at the foot of her bed, wiggling her foot, wiggling her toe to get her to wake up. And she said, somebody was wiggling my toe. Well, she said when she was the oldest of her sisters, and she used to care for her brothers and sisters, and she used to look over them. Well, when they needed something, when they were younger, and she would look after them, they used to wiggle her toe in order to get her to wake up when they needed something. And she was asleep, and in, of course, middle of the night, I think it was, again, around 3 a.m. We all know that whole 3 a.m. witching hour thing, whatever. And she feels somebody wiggling her toe, and she hears, Susie, 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 wake up. And she wakes up, and there at the foot of her bed is her sister Joanne. And she said it scared the living hell out of her. Now, at that point, she wakes up and sees Joanne there and gets just a few words out of her, and Joanne's there as a full-body apparition and then disappears. Now, you could say, all right, dream state, as you're arguing in the article. But again, this is a woman who, if you're arguing, has to do with, irregular sleep patterns. She gets regular sleep on a regular basis. So it has nothing to do with, sleep deprivation. She sleeps regularly. So you throw that out the window.
Right. Well, like you said, I'm overall saying I can buy at least into when you're sleeping, that some of your experiences may be more regarding the hypnagogic, hypnopompic state.
Here's the other part of my argument on this. Why is it that scientists automatically dismiss that sleep is sometimes the vehicle in which we transport back and forth between that veil between the living and the dead? Why do they automatically assume...
Well, I think I can answer that because they still haven't got a way to define what the soul is, or that consciousness extends past the human form. And that if they were to say that, sleep is this moment that allows us to bridge that chasm, then they would have to be agreeing that chasm exists and that something outside of us exists and I don't want to say scientists in general, because we've had some on our show that do believe in the paranormal. Mm-hmm. And we've had, brain surgeons, Dr. Evan Alexander, and every walk of life that have had these near-death experiences or out-of-body experiences that prove that there is more to the human existence than what we understand. But overall, science refuses to look at answers or look at these systems and say play the what if game, or to acknowledge that there is something else out there. They'll all play that kind of, hey, I'm the first one that would love to have this kind of, thing happen. But
because it's very obvious that your brain is active while you're sleeping. It doesn't shut down like a computer. You don't shut it down. You don't power it down when you go to sleep. It's active. So, and it's, you get the excuse of, well, your brain is sorting things out as you're sleeping. It's that's where your healing takes place when you're sleeping. Everything is rebooting itself as you're sleeping. Well, if things are active.
It's just that science refuses to fully link the fact that something else exists beyond us. It's just brain stuff going on. That's what their deal is. So, like you, I don't understand it. And there's, like I said, though, you can't just dismiss ghosts as being a sleep issue because we've experienced it. Cameras have captured it. Cameras aren't sleeping. When a camera captures a specter walk through a wall, right, and this footage exists, it's not sleep. We just have to open this up. But I'll tell you what, Tim, as I've been doing the show, we filmed a really interesting episode this year, and a good friend of ours who I can't give any information out yet, but
Okay.
a good friend of ours joins me on the show.
All right.
And we look at history and uncover something pretty spectacular. And he explains to me, listen, science does not want to even examine history and say, oh, well, we've learned that what we've always believed is wrong. And they're just going to summarily dismiss the reality of history. Because in a location that we were at, we uncovered that this location is much older than people assumed it was. There's proof of it because there's clues that have been left behind. I can't give away too much.
Sure.
But there's clues that have been left behind that this area that we visit is probably 10,000 years old, and that other civilizations have come through, left their mark. So we're able to track and know when these things were made and prove this. But science refuses to acknowledge that. No, we've written the history book this way. This is how it will stay. It's maddening. So when you can't even get science to go back and revert on what it's believed from where we came and when we settled and when we, as a civilization began to make things, how in God's green earth are we going to get them to get on board with the paranormal stuff?
I see what you're saying there, but again, if we rewrite history, then there are so many different institutions as you rewrite history that start to fall, and with that comes economic consequences, and you know what happens from there. Yeah,
But trust me, the location I'm talking about, there's no economic fallout if you admit, oh yeah, hey, there was. Who cares if Columbus discovered America? If we can, which he didn't, if we can prove that somebody found it first, why can't that be the story? Why can't these things exist? This has been a fascinating season. That's all I'm going to say on Holzer Files. And I will tell you, we've captured some of the best evidence I've ever seen anywhere, hands down. I cannot wait for season 2 to air and see how people respond to what we were able to capture, the new paradigms we were able to challenge. I'm super psyched. And as a matter of fact, you being my audio file and audio tech guy, I have an EVP I want to send you.
Okay.
That I just captured. This to me is one of I don't even know if it'll make the episode, in all honesty, because, we capture things that don't always make the episodes, and you ask why. And it's like, well, because it may be an amazing piece of paranormal evidence, but we're also following a narrative and a story that we're laying out for you. We treat the Holzer Files almost like a crime procedural. And it's not that we're eliminating good evidence, but, this is the story that we're telling of this haunting. We understand there are many layers and many things taking place in a location that may not be relevant to what we were investigating, because we go in looking for a specific aspect of history. And that's the story, the thread that we follow, like Hans Holzer. He would look at one chapter of that history to try to crack the code, believing that once you help that release, then you can go back and look at the other layers. So I'm not quite sure how this piece plays in yet. We just captured it. We're going through the evidence, going through our history to review. But it's a really, to me, one of the freakiest and most interesting pieces of audio I've ever captured.
Interesting. Huh.
So, we've got some great Class A EVP this year.
Uh-huh.
Amazing Class A EVP. This, to me, is just one of the most compelling because of what it's saying, and that it's not just a one word. I get a full sentence.
Okay. That's
unbelievable. And if it doesn't make the episode, I'll play it on Darkness Radio, and we'll talk about it.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that said, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more stories to share, more unbelievable things that have been sent my way from listeners. Some of the news stories Ann covered are really bizarre this week. We'll be back with that right after this.
So let me ask you the question. How do you feel today? You feel pretty good? Is your pain level okay? Do you feel pretty bad? You taking a beating today? I'll tell you how I feel. I feel pretty darn good. And why do I feel that way? Well, I've been taking my feels. Hey, it's your buddy Timmy, and I'm here to talk to you today about Feels Premium CBD. That's right. I've been taking it over the few weeks that we've been talking about it, and gradually, slowly but surely, even though I've been taking a little bit of flack from you guys, and you know who you are, I've been feeling better. How about you? Are you experiencing stress? Do you have anxiety? Do you have chronic pain? Do you have trouble sleeping at least once a week? Well, you're not alone. I, myself, along with many of you, have been having those troubles, but I no longer do because personally, I've been on Feel CBD and I've been experiencing a waning of that pain, of that stress, of that anxiety that comes with chronic pain. I even have some anxiety. I'll tell you, I was for 6 long months, and I got to tell you, I do have some good news as far as my foot goes. For 6 long months, I was in a pressure cast to try and heal a foot wound. And I get claustrophobia from being in that tight foot wound. And I would get anxiety from that. I would get real bad claustrophobia and anxiety. And I would take my Feels before bedtime, and it would help me. Because just thinking about that gives me the creepy crawlies. But I tell you, drop her full at night before I go to bed, drop her full in the morning to help me deal with the arthritis that is littered in my spine and my neck, my back, my knees. Keeps me going throughout the day, helps me sleep at night. And I thank God I have Feels in my life. What is Feels, you may ask? Well, Feels is premium CBD delivered directly to your doorstep. You don't have to go out for it. You don't have to run around and try and find it. It's delivered directly to you and helps naturally reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. And I tell you, in my case, it's done all for it, and it's done it beautifully. I've told you before, everything on my body hurts except for the tip of this finger on this pinky on my left hand. Everything else is blown out. It's it's herniated. It's broken. It's distended. Everything with me is just destroyed. If you don't believe me, go see my doctor and read hundreds and hundreds of pages of medical text. It'll makes for good reading if you have insomnia. We've gone over it multiple times here in this forum. I don't need to recap it with you one more time, but I tell you, Feels has helped me reduce that stress, reduce that anxiety, reduce that pain, and help me get a good night's sleep, which you'd be amazed what a good night's sleep will do when it comes to healing you overall. It's real easy for you to take. What you do is, depending on what your dosage is, you place a few drops of Feels under your tongue, and you feel the difference within minutes. Now, you may need to take it only once a day, maybe a couple times a day, depending on your dosage. Everybody's different. The thing to remember about CBD is you got to find your right dose in order to get you to that point where you're feeling good in your life, and you get to the point where you're either pain-free or your pain is diminished, okay? Leave some room to experiment over the course of a week or so. You may need to take more or less to get the effect that you're looking for. All right. Now, although I love to help you, and I'm here anytime you need me, the real support is right over there at Feels. Feels has the most experienced, the most genuinely warm human beings, and the most knowledgeable human beings on their free CBD hotline to help guide you through your personal experience. Unfortunately, although I do use the product, and I do use it well for me, I don't know your body composition. I don't know your resistance to different products. I don't know all of that stuff. You can say, well, what do you take? Well, I'm a huge human being, and I have a hell of a resistance. It's not the same as you, and I don't know your medical background. You want to contact the people at Feels, and they have a free CBD hotline to help you get through your experience, and they can tell you exactly what you need in order to get you through and get you pain-free. Feel better naturally. Feels works naturally to help you feel better. There's no high, there's no hangover, there's no addiction. This isn't the hey man part of the plant. I get a lot of flack from some of our listeners who think it is. It is not. This is like taking ibuprofen. I wish I could get through to some people who email me about Feels. Listen to the sound of my voice, people. Feels is CBD. It's CBD, not THC. It's CBD. It's like taking ibuprofen. It's all natural, and it really does help. Even my mother, my lovely mother, takes CBD now. She takes it, and helps her with extreme pain in her back, her sciatic pain, her neck, and her knees, her joints. Unfortunately, I've inherited the same arthritis at a young age that she had. So, but it's helping her as well. So there you go. Join the Feels community. Get Feels delivered to your door every month. You'll save money on every order, and you can pause or cancel at any time. Although, why would you ever want to cancel if you start feeling good? That's always baffled me. I don't know why. Feels has me feeling my best every day. It can help you too. Become a member today by going to feels.com/darkness. You'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's a heck of a deal. You're going to want to try it out, and you're going to want to continue to go on Feels month after month after month to start feeling your best. Start feeling like you did when you were 20. Why not? I mean, mentally, you feel that way. Why not physically start feeling that way? Do yourself a favor. Treat yourself today. Get out of pain. Why live with that long-term pain and think that you're suffering? What cause are you suffering for right now? That's what I want to ask you. What are you suffering for? Get out of pain. Live the best quality life you can. Go to feels.com/darkness. That's FEALS.com/darkness. Become a member. Get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. One more time, feels.com/darkness. Get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. That's feels.com/darkness. Do it today.
Welcome back. This is the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave. That's Tim. This week, we're going to focus primarily on supernatural news. But now we had Kelly Freeze from the Palmer House come on and talk to us a little bit about the Palmer House and some of the weird activity. Tim just shared a really interesting Parashare from his own family. We've got so many stories because we had to take last week off due to the sudden passing of my father-in-law, that we've got a lot of stories to catch up on, and I want to make sure we get to some of these because many of our listeners have sent them in. I don't want people to think that we haven't noticed it, and we always appreciate when you send in stories. So thank you for that. We're going to focus a little bit more heavily today on supernatural news. Next week, we'll be back to our regular rhythm of supernatural news and Parashare. We're going to start off now, though, Tim, with a really fascinating story. Thousands of villagers in China have flocked to search for what they thought was a mysterious creature after hearing loud noises that apparently sounded like a dragon growling. Trending footage emerged recently shows curious locals swarming the top of a mountain in the Zishui of China's southwestern province of Guizhou. Bless you. Thank you. Yeah, while the supposedly mystical beast can be heard making these booming noises, local officials even had to set roadblocks to stop people from gathering while sending a team of experts to investigate where this sound was emanating from. The villagers in Zishui had rushed to the mountain hills after some farmers claimed that they had just heard strange noises back on June 20th. Footage filmed by onlookers show local residents gathering in the area while they intently listen to this low-pitched, strange sound. Some people can be heard shouting excitedly, "It's growling! It's growling!" First of all, I have to ask you, Tim.
Yeah.
If you start hearing giant emanating growls coming from an area, do you go to that area or do you avoid that area?
Well, Dave, on Fridays it is Chinese night here at the house, and I hear giant growls afterwards, and I generally head right to the bathroom.
Right.
So,
but again, in this situation, if you believe that a giant mythical beast was presenting itself, would you run to check it out, especially if it's giving more of a growl as opposed to a, "Woo! I'm over here! Hello! Come see me, everybody!" Right? It's not that. It's not an inviting, happy-go-lucky dragon noise. They're hearing.
Am I armed or unarmed?
Does it matter?
Yeah, it does.
You're just all you are is the tuna in the can. He'll just peel you open, Tim.
Well,
if it's a dragon,
that's the thing. You have to decide whether you believe in dragons or don't believe in dragons. You know, do you have a 6-sided die in your hand, or do you not have a 6-sided die in your hand?
That's a 10-sided die.
All right,
if you're going to try to be a nerd the right way. The videos have drawn enormous attention. All right, because of what's been going on social media. Some web users claim that the sound had come from a dragon, while others say it's clearly a tiger's roar, which again is why I don't need to be out there.
Well, but see, if you got a big enough gun, you got a chance.
I don't think so. Guizhou officials sent a team of experts to search the area after the videos became viral online. Zoologists later revealed that the sound was, in fact, coming from a type of small bird.
Oh, see?
The yellow-legged button quail. What?
It's a quail.
So you got this cute little quail, and all of a sudden he looks at it and goes, birds are terrifying. Well, it's hardly bigger than a sparrow. Well, the little ground birds have a I don't know how to say this word. It's a big one. Disproportionately loud song.
Yeah.
During the breeding season, the females reportedly utter the booming hoots, which can be heard at a distance as far as 100 meters. That's 328 feet to those of us in America, Tim.
That was the name of our synth band in college, wasn't it? The Booming Hoots?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
The experts' conclusion was confirmed by some villagers who had spotted the animals whilst they were making the noise. Louis Facong.
Pardon me? Whoa.
Yeah, Louis Facong, a local primary school teacher, told the pair video it hummed twice or 3 times repeatedly every 6 or 7 minutes. The sound is very deep. I thought it was quite strange as well. A dozen villagers followed the sound to the cornfield and chased down a yellow bird with a really short tail. So people are running up to the hills thinking it's a dragon, Tim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And instead it turns out to be it's a
little quail.
Little quail.
Yeah.
Little quail. Let's go ahead. We've actually got the link to what they were hearing. Let's play that audio now.
All right.
Interesting, but again, if I don't care if it's coming from a bird or a tiger or a dragon, if you know what, I'm going to let you go up and examine. I'm going to be the Marlon Perkins of this Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, and I'm going to let you be the Jim. What that growling noise?
Okay, sure, yeah.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Once it's eaten you or not eaten you, then I'll go up with you and examine.
I'll tell you what, I'll go up with a big gun in one hand and a handful of birdseed in the other, and we'll see which one I need first.
You're quick to trigger. I've noticed. You want to shoot everything.
No. It's not that I want to shoot everything. It's that you don't walk into dangerous territory without the proper implements of your vocation.
What you're saying is you don't go to a gunfight with a knife.
Exactly.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah. Huh. All right. Weird stuff. Nonetheless. All right. Here's something interesting, Tim. Mm-hmm. I don't know if, like you, I enjoy a good pizza.
Oh, God.
And
yeah.
On my pizza, you know what? I will be honest with you. Domino's, people will give it a lot of flack. I love me a thin crust, large Domino's pizza with sausage, banana peppers, and mushrooms.
Lost me with the peppers, but yeah.
But the mushrooms are the way to go, Tim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, this next story is kind of a visual story, which is great for radio. But I'm going to send you right now, Tim. I want you to look at these mushrooms that were found.
Okay.
And I'll read about this. If mushrooms are nothing more than a pizza topping for you, as I just mentioned, the Facebook group Mushroom Core might leave you pleasantly surprised. Turns out there are more mushrooms out there than just champignons and fly amanitis. I can't read these words. I think they're made up or they're pretentious made up words. Some of them are outright terrifying. A little while ago, Facebook user Reagan Daniels shared a photo of a bizarre mushroom called the Xyleria polymorpha, a.k.a. dead man's fingers. You'll quickly realize why it's called that when you take a look at them, Tim. So scroll down in that image.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, I don't know how that looks like fingers to you. Those look like toes.
Well, I can see as they're coming up, the second picture in the article on the top there, I get that one where they're coming up out of the ground. See that?
Yeah.
One? See that one? Yeah. The one under like the log. I see what you're saying about toes. Yeah.
Those look like toes. And yeah, you're right. The other ones do look like fingers, but those are creep. Could you eat? Wouldn't you be weirded out if you're walking around out there? And for those of you that can't see it, just go look up dead man finger fungus. That sounds weird. Maybe you shouldn't look that up. Look up dead man finger mushrooms. Maybe that's because if you put like dead man finger fungus, I don't know what kind of Murderpedia site's going to pull up and what you're going to see. But these mushrooms are long gray mushrooms that look like fingers, and they even look like they have fingernails on them. Or toes.
Although if you say they look like toes, there are some people that would kind of get off on, sucking them off. I'm just saying.
Yikes. And if you keep scrolling down, Tim.
Yeah.
Scroll all the way down. There are even species of creepy fungus out there that look like ears.
Oh, don't show Mike Tyson. No.
Look at that. Oh, well, maybe that's what he was. Oh, this looks like a delicious ear fungi. And that's when he bit Evander Holyfield.
Yeah.
But do you see that ear fungus?
Yeah.
Wow. Don't look up ear fungus either, folks. I can guarantee you're not going to be happy with that. But just look up ear mushroom, and you'll see what we're talking about. But this was sent to me by many people. Again, not paranormal, but it is creepy. If you're out walking in the woods and all of a sudden you see these gray fingers reaching up from the ground, I would think I'm ready to cash in and get my Twinkies. But turns out, no, it's not the dead coming back to life. Nope. It's merely mushrooms reaching out to tackle you and eat you. I don't know what they're doing. I know, in all honesty. Tim, for this next story, we're going to Scotland.
Okay.
Where the Scottish X-Files, kept secret for years by CIA, are finally released, Tim.
Well, they were probably kept secret because you couldn't understand them.
Scully, let's go down and check out the creature swimming around in a loch. American spies kept close tabs on Scotland with probes into UFOs, spoon bending, and psychics among the declassified documents that have currently been released, Tim. I only do that because my article's not coming in quick enough, so I'm killing a little time for you. Yeah. All right, so here it goes. Incredible evidence has emerged of the extent that American CIA agents have kept tabs on Scotland. Declassified documents range from paranormal research to political intrigue, lifting the lid on the Scots X-Files. Da 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 da. I want to hear the X-Files scene played on a bagpipes now, Tim.
Oh, that would just be irritating.
You know what? I have faith that you can find that audio, so I'm going to be quiet and let you plug it in right now. Well, if you found it, well done, Tim. If you did not, shame on you for not being better at your job. Some of the weirdest records relate to the controversial Stargate program, which has long fascinated conspiracy theorists. The shadowy work was widely credited for influencing the 2009 movie The Men Who Stare at Goats, which starred George Clooney and Ewan McGregor. In the film, U.S. Special Forces attempt to harness paranormal powers as a weapon by trying to explode the hearts of animals simply by looking at them. Lecturer in intelligence and international security at the University of Glasgow, Damien van Pervide, said the references reflect the global scope of CIA activities and the evolution of its interests, from assessments of the Soviet economy to public perception of the Vietnam War abroad, to perceived communist influence in Latin America, to the rise of the terrorist threat and more eccentric issues like UFOs and psychics. All of these can be linked to the broader context of the Cold War, though. Buried in the historical files is a 1964 report by the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena Research Group, which included retired armed services chiefs. Kept in closed CIA files now for nearly 40 years, Tim. The 186-page document lists UFO sightings across the globe and includes a mysterious case in Wigstonshire on April 4th of 1957. Wigstonshire, Tim. How'd you like to kind of retire there?
Sounds hairy, Dave. I don't know that.
Yeah. It tells how 3 radar posts tracked a UFO which dove is the word, Tim. It's a tricky word. It's a tricky word because it can be read as dove or dove, Tim.
Sure.
It dove and circled at between 60,000 and 14,000 feet. The close encounter was described by Wing Commander W.P. Whitmore, based in Scotland, as quite definitely freaky. It was an object of some substance, and no mistake could have been made. Recommendations in the report include boosting attempts to communicate with extraterrestrials and even drafting space law to govern how humans will interact with ETs. How long will the ETs have to be in quarantine before we can have sex with them, Tim? I'm asking for a friend.
2 weeks, I believe, Dave. 2 weeks. Seems to be just so they don't have the Rona, I think is what it is. Yeah.
Is it? It concludes, on the basis of the evidence in the report, NICAP has concluded that UFOs are real and that they appear to be intelligently controlled. We believe that it is a responsible hypothesis that UFOs, beyond those explainable as conventional objects or phenomena.
Do.
I said phenomena.
Do.
Tim, it's phenomena.
Do.
It's hard to be on that side of this story and not do that, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, they say it's hard to believe that they're not manifestations of extraterrestrial life. However, the report accepted that evidence was still too sketchy to suggest what aliens look like on or the purpose of their visits here on Earth. Now, Damien was quoted as saying sightings of unidentified flying objects could provide information on Soviet ballistic missiles or airplanes. It was also important to understand and manage people's threat perception. He said a CIA study group concluded that the Soviets could use UFO reports to generate panic and wage a form of information warfare. He also concludes that UFO reports could be used to overload the U.S. air warning system. Certainly appears to have been too early to break out the intergalactic welcome mats. Van Polveide said, in general, though, CIA and U.S. Air Force investigations into this phenomena found that most of them could be linked to optical illusions and hallucinations, hoaxes, or misinterpretations. Then in the 1980s, the CIA took an interest in the work of leading Edinburgh University parapsychologist Deborah Delanoy. She exposed a bright and very affable 17-year-old self-proclaimed metal bender called Tim as a fake back in 1983 and 84. After Tim's falling out, he moved to the United States and was believed to have begun doing radio. What?
No.
Interesting.
Can't prove it.
Delanoy's report reads, Tim claimed to have started bending metal, mostly cutlery, at the age of 4 and to have been doing so ever since. After 7.5 months of lab tests, researchers began to suspect Tim was a fraud and used a hidden camera to expose him. The report continues, Tim confessed to deceptive behavior. He said that he was a practicing magician who had wished to see if it were possible for a magician to pose successfully as a psychic in a laboratory. Delanoy concludes, we must never let ourselves forget that our subjects may be deceiving us. Pretty interesting stuff. But, so the Scottish X-Files have been released, Tim. Where can we read these? We got to try to find them. Wouldn't it be great to kind of read through this and just, I mean, it's interesting for them to say, hey, according to this, the direct quote is, hey, the phenomena is real. UFO phenomena, at least. Phenomena! I like that. It's very angry and Scottish. I prefer that version, I think, better than any of the others. Let's see what other crazy stories we've got here. Here's another one that just briefly mentions the paranormal, but is another just bizarre story. Carrie Katona, a very beautiful young lady, according to this picture at least, got flustered and started cleaning when Robbie Williams stripped in her hotel room.
Whoa.
The 39-year-old star had spent the evening chatting with the Angels singer about paranormal activity, and when he asked if he could stay over, she agreed, but didn't want any funny business. So she was stunned when she turned around to realize that Robbie was waiting in just his underwear.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Yeah. So Paranormal Talk, I guess, got Robbie Williams a little excited. Yeah.
A little bit.
She refers to his underwear as his Y fronts. Ooh. I like that. That's how I want to refer to my underwear from now on. She goes, she went to put on her PJs and came back to bed. He was wearing just his Y fronts. Huh.
Why do you call it a Y front? I mean, other than the design, I mean, it.
Well, that's it, I think, because the underwear has got that kind of Y-looking thing in the front for us to.
Is it like, I'm down to my britches, lass.
My britches?
Why front? We're all naked now.
Wow.
Is that why you call it a Y front?
I guess. Maybe. I don't know. Probably not, Tim. If I'm going to be honest with you, probably not why it's called the Y front. I think it's because the Y front is exactly as you just said it. It's the shape of the little opening at the front of the underwear.
It's not a question. It's more of a fashion statement.
Right.
Yeah.
That's at least that's my perception of it. I don't know. I could be wrong. Believe it or not, Tim, I've been wrong on occasion. Not many, but I've been wrong on occasion. Yvette Fielding is back in the news, Tim.
Is she?
From Most Haunted. She says her dead dad's ghost calls her a skinny cow.
Oh.
Yvette Fielding has revealed that her dead dad is in constant contact with the I'm a celebrity, get me out of here campmate, and that her paranormal experiences shaped her thinking. Most Haunted presenter Yvette Fielding claims that she now has a closer relationship with her late father's ghost than when he was alive. The 51-year-old said that they regularly exchanged messages, although he once told her she was too skinny. Fielding says in an Acting for Others podcast interview with her ex-Blue Peter co-host Mark Curry, this may seem
interesting. I didn't know she spoke different languages.
Yeah, I'm gonna translate that now.
Okay.
She says, this may seem strange, but I have more of a relationship and a better relationship with my father since he passed over than I did when he was alive. Try and figure that out, she says. She says she and her late dad have a system in place where he taps to letters of the alphabet. Huh. She says, so I'll say, can you give me a message? 2 for yes, 1 for no. 2 taps will come through, and then I'll say, okay, is the first letter on this line? And then it'll tap. Then I'll point to the letter, and he'll tap to each letter. My dad has come through with all sorts of information telling me to get Rick, my brother, to come home. I didn't want him in America. He told me to stop dieting. He called me a skinny cow. Really interesting stuff.
A skinny cow.
Yeah. Seems kind of weird to me that
he didn't drop the vanity when he went to the other side.
Well, it's not even that. It's just, is it her vanity? Oh, look, I'm so beautiful and skinny. Even the ghosts are telling me to eat a sandwich. I don't know what her accent sounds like, but it's an English show, and it seems everybody's from Scotland, so that's kind of why I went with that accent.
It's kind of a Sheena Easton Scottish deal.
Very weird. I'm looking at the pictures of, Derek Akora has been gone for a year now. Hard to believe, huh?
Yeah, he has. Is she?
Sorry.
Is she
drifted there.
Living up to the hype then? Is she?
Yeah, she looks skinny in the pictures. Yeah. She goes, 20 years of doing this now, and I know 100% that there is life after death. There's a reason for us being here, and it has reshaped my life. It has made me a much happier person. I look at life in a different way. Yvette also says that ghostly goings-on Most Haunted were 100% totally genuine. She added 100%. It's a TV program, but the human brain, of course, we're going to fake it. What? This is the quote. 100%, it's a TV program, But the human brain, ... of course we're going to fake it. What?
And then
No, we don't. Obviously get flack on social media when we capture something. Oh, you faked it. You've done this. You've done that in the edit. I used to get so upset. I used to cry when people say, how can you sleep at night? You're a disgusting person who makes money from dead people or something like that. It used to really upset me. Now it doesn't really upset me at all because I know the truth. I am absolutely making money. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I am absolutely passionate about what I do, and I go to bed at night and started thinking of how we can make this tapping board even better and more clear. Yvette is currently writing her autobiography entitled, Here's One I Screamed Earlier, and 2 children's books under the working title, The Ghost Hunter Chronicles. So either a very poorly written article.
That could be.
Or eloquently written, and she just poorly stated what she had to say there. I don't know. Hey, did you watch the first 6 episodes of Unsolved Mysteries yet on Netflix?
I've not. I've not gotten to all 6, no.
It's a great new series. I like the reboot. I'm watching people. Some of them are they feel like they need a Robert Stack. They need a host to narrate. But I've enjoyed it. I think having the people tell the story in the cinematic approach they did to it, I really did enjoy it. Wasn't just me stroking the noodle of the director we had on a couple weeks back. I really liked the feel and vibe of it. And truthfully, I have a hard time. Who would have replaced Robert Stack to give it that same gravitas? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a pretty big shoes to fill. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Netflix Unsolved Mysteries is a big hit in its first couple weeks, but it's only half released. One of the remaining episodes is going to delve into the paranormal. The first 6 episodes of the revived series, which released on Netflix earlier this month, were almost entirely stories of true crime following in the footsteps of the genre's rise over the last several years. Some fans have lamented that only one episode, the 5th one, which we talked about on our show 2 weeks ago, looks at a UFO incident in the 1960s. That was the only one that really touched heavily on paranormal themes. That won't be the only paranormal episode in season 1. That's what showrunner Terry Dunn Murrer told Variety. Asked about a potential ghost episode, Murrer said yes, but I'll qualify that and say it's an unusual ghost episode. That's all I'll say. It's different, a bit different. While Netflix has yet to reveal viewership details on the series, it has been a major source of conversation online since releasing at the beginning of the month. The next set of 6 episodes, which will conclude season 1, will arrive later on this year. They're teasing it out, Tim.
Well, I got to think, too, it's hard to get, especially in this age of COVID, it's hard to get a lot of these episodes out and available. I got to think that they're staggering.
Well, I think they filmed a lot of this earlier on, and the way they do it, it's, a lot of talking heads. I don't think there's a lot of people together, so I don't know.
Right, but I mean, you can't release it all at one time because there's no guarantee that you're going to get more episodes out, and you don't know when you're going to be able to get more episodes out. So to put the initial 6 out, if you've got more in the can, you probably don't want to release them until at least this fall, because you don't know when you're going to be able, especially if it's going like gangbusters, you don't know when you're going to be able to get more out,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah.
The Osbournes are back.
I see this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ozzy, Sharon, and Jack are launching a new TV series. Well, Dave, what the hell do the Osbournes have to do with the paranormal? Well, I don't know if you ever watched Haunted Highways with Jack, and then his show Portals to Hell, where he investigates the paranormal. Well, Ozzy Osbourne, his wife and manager Sharon, and their son Jack are now starring in a new Travel Channel series. The paranormal show will be entitled The Osbournes Want to Believe, and it will be premiering on the Travel Channel on August 2nd at 10 p.m. Eastern. The premise of the 8-episode show will have Jack showing his parents, Ozzy and Sharon, videos of alleged paranormal activity to try and convince them of their validity. Jack said in the network announcement, "My parents have always lived on the edge, even when it comes to believing in the supernatural." He said, "I'm convinced that they just haven't seen enough evidence, so I'm making them watch the most undeniable footage caught on camera, including a few from my own personal experiences. My biggest challenge may be keeping their comments family-friendly. It will be classic Osbourne gathering." Pretty interesting.
Very interesting. The one thing I've always wondered is, over the years, Has Ozzy ever seen Randy Rhoads?
I don't know. I wonder if they'll touch on that. Maybe not that personal. I don't know. We'll have to see.
All right. I got to think you got to go into that territory sometime, right?
I guess. I don't know. You know, to people like us, like if one of us dropped that, I'm sure people would go, Tim, Dave, do you ever hear from the other one? Because we're paranormal people, and that would be it. But to somebody who's not in the paranormal field, asking that question, I can see that being insensitive to a degree. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Now that he's putting himself out there on a paranormal show, Ozzy will be open to that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, the minute you put yourself in that realm, then, yeah, you're open to it. I think you're open to the question. Yeah.
Tim. You know how two great tastes are better than one?
Yeah, like peanut butter and smoked salmon? Sure.
No, Tim, you got your peanut butter in my chocolate, and I got my chocolate in your peanut butter.
Oh.
Great a sensation. Okay. Chocolate, marshmallows on a graham cracker, sign me up, Tim. Mm-hmm. Banana and peanut butter, deep fried like Elvis loved it, I'm in, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Well, Tim, I think we can admit that in the world of the paranormal, there is one reigning king that still exists out there, Ghost Adventures. Mm-hmm. And in the world of strange docudramas, there is one that reigns supreme in the year 2020.
Ken Burns?
It's a little show called Tiger King.
Oh, Tiger King, yes. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I was going to go to Ken Burns, but yeah, Tiger King, sure, yeah.
What if we took both of these and shuffled them together like a tarot card deck and Sorry game cards and mixed them into one giant, perfect amalgam, Tim? Well,
you know, Dave, I've been following some of the Twitter drama, but go ahead. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, a ghost-themed reality show prompted a search for human remains at the Tiger King Zoo. Mm-hmm. That's right. Let's get to it, shall we? Just when it seems like the Tiger King saga couldn't get any weirder, a paranormal reality show prompted a search for Joe Exotic's former zoo for human remains. Garvin County Sheriff Jim Mullet told Oxygen.com on Monday that Exotic's former Greater Wynwood Zoo, which became the Greater Wynwood Exotic Animal Park under Jeff Lowe's ownership, was searched Friday for a human corpse. Mullet said that no human remains were found, though a dead creature was discovered in the zoo's defunct alligator pit. The only thing that was found was the bones of a small animal with a tail. Mullet told Oxygen.com. He said no further searches will be conducted. The quest for possible human remains was prompted after cadaver dogs were brought onto the premises by a television crew for Ghost Adventures. The dogs alerted their trainer to a hit in the alligator pit, Mullet confirmed, which I find weird, Tim, because cadaver dogs know the difference between animal and human scent.
Right.
So I just wonder... You know, something seems off to me about that.
So there was something there, but not enough to be detected.
No, they said they found an animal's remains.
Right. But if the dogs pick something up, what I'm saying is there was something there, but not enough to be detected.
What if he fed something to the alligators who defecated there, and the remains were kind of there as well?
That's what I'm saying. There was something there, but not enough to be detected.
Alligators are carnivores, so that makes sense. Big cat activist Carol Baskin, who was awarded the zoo last month as part of a court judgment in a trademark infringement case with Exotic, told Oxygen.com. I think the whole thing was either a publicity stunt or shows that their dogs need to go back to cadaver detection school. Oh, my God, you and I are on the same par with Carol Baskin, Tim. We're thinking just like Carol Baskin.
I tend to believe the dogs. I
do too.
As I was following along on Twitter, with everything that was going on, I thought, you know what? The dogs don't lie. The training is true. They did find something, but it's just that the traces are so minute that whatever
was poorly positioned with whatever animal had died there,
right,
or been eaten there, that they're making a dismissive commentary. I don't know.
Exactly.
Lowe told local outlet Coco 5 on Sunday that he still believes there are human remains on the property. He claims they just haven't been found yet. Lowe was not immediately responded to Oxygen .com's request for comment. Lowe hasn't yet transferred the zoo over to Baskin. He reportedly had 120 days following the judge's June 1st order to vacate the zoo, which is genius that Ghost Adventures jumped on that very short window.
Yep.
To go in there and investigate before Carol Baskin takes over. I got to give Zach and the crew credit because they know how to market.
Oh, yeah.
And how to jump on a trend. And that's I can't wait to see what they uncover. I expect that Lowe, will use every trick in the book to keep me from actually taking possession, Baskin told Oxygen.com on Monday. Lowe reportedly plans to move the animals to a different location in the state, but Baskin noted that Lowe's tax issues with the state of Oklahoma could present some hurdles for him. Exotic, the zoo's founder, is currently serving 22 years in federal prison for hiring a hitman to kill Baskin, a longtime rival who worked to limit big cat operations like his. Ghost Adventures investigates locations that are believed to be haunted. So they were on the grounds of the now infamous zoo last week for a week to shoot a 2-part special to air on Travel Channel around Halloween, the Las Vegas Review-Journal reports. In addition to searching the grounds, they also took back some artifacts to Las Vegas. The show's host, Zach Bagans, is planning a Tiger King exhibit at his haunted museum. Some of the artifacts are personal effects that used to belong to Joe Exotic and his husband, Travis, who shot himself at the zoo. Baggins told the outlet, referencing Exotic's former husband, Travis Maldonado, other items will be pieces involving documented paranormal events during our investigation. So, you know what I'm curious about, though?
What's that?
If a judge awards the property and such of that location to Carol Baskin, can Jeff Lowe give things from that location to somebody else before he vacates?
Sure.
That doesn't seem right, because like if the court's saying everything there is hers, how can anything be given away? I wonder if we're going to see something like this play out in the courts eventually.
Depending on what it is and what kind of value it has, he technically could give it away, but he'd have to give her the cash value, I would believe.
Possibly. How do you put a cash value on the piece of the wall where the bullet went after somebody accidentally shot themselves? How do you, I don't know. It's going to be bizarre. We'll see how it plays out. She just seems to me to be the litigious type. Yeah. I don't know if you picked that up from the series.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah. I just think we might not have heard the end of Carol Baskin with what just took place. That's all I'm saying. But here's a question for you, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, due to COVID, they were releasing a lot of people from prison.
Yep.
He was found guilty of conspiring, but she wasn't killed. Could he end up getting released early if COVID resurfaces? Because they're letting a lot of, they've let pedophiles out. They've let people that were close to their, what do you call it, parole out. They've let a lot of people out. Do you see him getting out on a technicality like that?
Believe it or not, yeah. If he lines himself up with the right people and lobbies the right people, but he'd have to lobby somebody on the federal level. Wink, wink. I think I can completely see him asking somebody in a high position to lobby to get paroled early. Sure. Yeah.
Does that high position rhyme with resident?
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
From one reality guy to another. Can you get me out?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Although I think he's tried to go that route at one time or another and was denied. But yeah, he I can totally see it. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Well, here's something I know will fascinate you. I know that you love when we do any of the shows on like the strange organizations like the Templars or the Masons and such. Crop circle or crop formation has always incited alien theories.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Paranormal activities among people. Some relate religious references to the activities, while others believe it is simply mysterious. The latest such crop formation has appeared in a wheat field in France. Pictures of the giant Templar crop circle in northern France has gone viral on social media platforms. The owner of the farmland, Gerard Benoit, noticed the pattern while driving his tractor earlier this month. The design, quite precisely done, has been described as a Templar cross. The Benoit family even shared some pictures of the circles on social media, but they had to take them down as hundreds of people started visiting their farm since the pictures were put up. As it incident has once again stirred up talks about crop formations. People need to get back to paying attention to what they write and how they post. Editors, it's COVID. It doesn't mean you have to stop reading and editing. Just saying, putting it out there. So it's an interesting, it's really neat. It is a Templar's cross. There's no doubt about it. It's a neat geometric pattern. Talking about the recent incident in France, Nicolas Benoit, Gerald Benoit's son, told Euro Weekly News, "I thought someone had damaged my wheat overnight, but then I realized it was forming a pattern. We've never seen a crop circle before. We see it in movies. It's vandalism, but we said it to ourselves. It's good for once. We saw a lot of people come to the field, and we discovered that there were religious beliefs around it. People are crazy. They come to pray. We're not a museum. The crop circles are beautiful, but for someone else." How do you like that? They allow people in there to look at them, but then they're like, you're wackadoodles.
No, what's interesting is in some areas of Europe and overseas, it's illegal to be a Templar. Or not? You said it's a Templar cross, or it's a what kind of cross?
I think. Let me see here if I can read that line again. Bizarre Templar crop circle appears in French field. Pictures of a giant Templar. The latest such crop formation has appeared in a wheat field in France. Pictures of the giant Templar crop circle in northern France has gone viral. The owner of the farmland, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's described as a Templar cross.
It's unusual because Templars aren't out like that. So if it was done out in the open like that, it was probably the work of an independent artist, but I don't know. Or
aliens. Why can't you just go with aliens, Tim?
An independent aliens. Templar alien?
Well, yeah, how do you know that there aren't Masonic brother aliens and Templar aliens out there, Tim? You dismissed too quickly.
Well,
I say good day, sir. I said good day, sir.
But it's illegal in a lot of parts of, especially in the Middle East. But in some parts of Europe, it's illegal to be Masonic or Templar.
Really?
Yeah.
Illegal, you say?
It's illegal. Yeah.
That's bizarre. Did not know that. Well, what I do know, though, is that we've come to the end of today's episode. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, spending some time with us. We'll be back tomorrow for Ghost Remover, getting rid of disturbing and dark spiritual forces. Robert Major and his sister Antoinette join us tomorrow on the program. We're back Tuesday with a brand new True Crime Tuesday. Mark Anthony walks us through some killer cuts as we discuss 4 different serial killers and some other bizarre cases that he brings to us. And then we'll be back again next week with more of the best in Paranormal Talk Radio. I'm Dave Schrader. That's Tim Dennis. You've been listening to the best in Paranormal Talk Radio, and thank you for doing that. Remember, you can also check out our Amazon shop, where you can find all kinds of cool paranormal swag, all the books we cover on the show, all the true crime books we cover on the show, paranormal gift items, clothing, and more. Just go to darknessradio.com, click on the shop tab. It'll open up a page. There you will find a link to our Amazon page. Go in and bookmark that link, because anything you purchase, once you go in through that link, anything you purchase, a very small percentage goes to Darkness Radio. So we appreciate your support and love on that as well. That's it for today. We'll be back again next week with more Darkness Radio.